Hello.
Perhaps you do, perhaps you don't.
Has he spat my gift away?
Wait, you get the
Yeah.
roll it spit out.
No, oh, wait, what? Are you eating? Okay, fine. You don't have anything. Watching you, though. Oh, it's Michael just left.
God damn it.
You left.
No.
Hurry!
Alright. We are just chilling, waiting for, 5 minutes. Everyone, please grab your refreshments. I got mine.
We don't like some incense. Go through this shit way too fast.
Let's see. That was weird. Do that. Welcome back. We are live. We're just chilling and waiting for everyone to go grab themselves refreshments and such.
Well, if anybody has like Amazon Prime or whatever, Battlefield 4 is free currently.
Damn it!
Yeah.
There's all these
Prime
different.
gaming.
There's all these different like free things right now.
And on the Epic Store, Control is for free right now.
Yeah, I knew that one.
If you haven't played that.
I was gonna say, Mex, are you able to hear us now? Yes or no?
Yeah, I guess it is a problem with being dragged into places.
Yeah, I'm wondering why that is though, because it hasn't been an issue before. That's how we try to get people in. I would think.
Yeah, it was only since the last time, because last time when you guys tried to drag me in, it wasn't working. It just took a really long time for it to fix itself.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just make a roles to allow to like a guest role, because there's certain people who generally come into the stream more often than others. So it's kind of one of those like, they might as well have the role so they can join, with the understanding that the role is primarily to just join if there is one available, if you can make it.
Yep.
And try to stick it around to the end.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so cranky all of a sudden, because it's been just fine.
It's just mobile users too.
That's right.
Really?
It is just the mobile users.
It might have had to do with the things they had to do to get around for iOS. Maybe that messed up something for them.
Even then, though, we're not a not safe for work server.
I mean, even then, I'm not on iOS.
Oh, there's something about stage channels.
Oh yeah, they had those like podcast stage channel things or whatever now.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
I think when they updated that, might have fucked with something.
Possible. Every time you fix something, you break something. It's the way things usually work.
Let me change this one to be read as undead. Yes. Alright. I am assigning everyone in here this role. Though I do have to like make a lower color on the...
Oh boy, I'm special!
No, I'm fixing that too.
Aww.
You're still special to me, Bert.
Aw, thank you. Special to me.
Thank you.
I love all my homies.
Save changes. There we go. So I got one of you. You already has it, and Michael. Okay.
Oh, wait, so they haven't fixed it yet, but it's a known issue. As well as like when you move people, sometimes they bounce back and forth really quickly. Like over in the other VC, when we move sleeping people to the channel, it just bounces them back and forth rapidly.
Just imagining in the future when our consciousness are tied to our like little icons here, and that shit happens. It's just your subconscious is getting bounced like back and forth like a pong ball.
Exactly. But here, okay. Looks like our timer has just finished up. So, without further ado, welcome everyone to another Undead Talk with XenoLich. Last time we were going over the last book, which was the Grim Hollow book, thanks to Hayes. But this time, with the current summer festival going on for Dungeons and Dragons, they've also dropped a new Unearthed Arcana that introduces 5 subclasses for multiple classes. This is a very interesting concept that we've seen. But before we dive into that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our lovely guests who are joining us for today. Starting at the top, we have Mex, who you'd all know from Mondays as our Hallie player.
Hello.
We have Skittles and My Lover, who you would all know on Saturdays as Dell.
Hiya.
We have Hive, also who plays Twig in the Tuesday games. You're also muted, Hive.
Maybe he plays Twig. We don't know yet.
Oh no, that's right. That's a whole thing in itself. We have Bird, who plays Xandro in the Tuesday games.
Ahoy!
And lastly, we have Manako, who plays Alexandris on the Saturday games.
Oh whoa.
And today, like I said, we're going to be discussing about these subclasses. Let me go ahead and change it over. Alright. This is an entire thing called the Mages of Strixhaven. To give you guys an understanding, it primarily came about because the second book that was announced, which is dropping in November, is Strixhaven, A Curriculum of Chaos. It is a campaign setting, so from what I understand, this is not going to be an adventure book, and it is another Magic the Gathering campaign setting. We're going to be getting quite a few things that are going to drop in this, and for the most part, you know, they haven't been updating with what it's primarily going to have, but it is probably safe to assume that the Mages of Strixhaven subclasses are going to be in the Strixhaven area in the book.
Yeah, another Mages of the Gathering setting.
I know, right? But hey, look at this. On September 21st, we get a new campaign for 2021. The Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Treat.
It is, as you can see, it has a circus, a festival, clown elf man, and half orc, what looks like the ringleader of it all. But there's a lot of like whimsical stuff. But today we are talking about the Mages of Strixhaven. The Mages of Strixhaven should be understood as this presents 5 different subclasses, and without kind of going further into them, I want to just give you an example that the first one we're going to see is going to be the Mage of Lorehold, and this is a subclass available to bards, warlocks, and wizards. Just as the Mages of Prismari are going to be for druids, sorcerers, and wizards. These are multi-class subclasses, so it makes it that if you wanted to subclass into one of these, you don't have to worry about losing out on your main subclass for the current class you're playing. You could dip it over to another one of the classes and take it upon one of them to take those subclass features instead.
Treat.
Yes.
Why did you explain it to me that way when we first brought this topic up?
Listen. It comes to my mind. It just comes out as I think it. So, the 5 subclasses in this document are designed for characters who dedicate themselves to one of the paths of magic practiced at Strixhaven. The University of Strixhaven is home to a wide variety of students and spellcasters, and while individuals are welcome to pursue their magical studies in whichever way they please, some choose to focus exclusively on the fundamentals of one of the university's 5 colleges. You already saw it, but there is the Lorehold College. This is dedicated to the pursuit of history by conversing with ancient spirits and understanding the whims of time itself. The Prismari College, dedicated to the visual and performing arts and bolstered with the power of the elements. The Quandrix College, which is a personal favorite of mine, dedicated to the study and manipulation of nature's core mathematic principles. The Silverquill College, dedicated to the magic of words, whether encouraging speeches that uplift allies or piercing wit that derides foes. And finally, the Witherbloom College, dedicated to the alchemy of life and death and harnessing the devastating energies of both. With that in mind, we already have an idea of what thematically to expect out of these things. Hence why, like, for example, I love the idea of just, like, as soon as I heard Quandrix, the first thing that came to my mind is, like, oh, like, like physics and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, it is, because you could totally take a wizard who, like, yes, I'm already a nerd because I practice the arcane, but I've now practiced math. They've put math in our spells now, guys.
Theoretical physicist. About to make
I like
fucking Sheldon Cooper in D&D.
Oh no.
I like the Silver Quill one because it's like a test of wit and whatnot, and I was like, that's basically you're just making a. If you did a bard, you just become a lyricist.
Well, now just imagine that though. When we get to it, I'm pretty sure bard is gonna have it as an option. But imagine being a bard and being like College of Eloquence bard, and then going to like wizard or sorcerer, whatever class also has the Silverquill, and you take those purely to take Silverquill, so you have College of Eloquence bard mixed with Silverquill.
Oh, that's gonna be fucking busted.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a
God.
rapper.
So, let's go ahead and take a look. Using these subclasses, when you choose a subclass for your character, you can instead choose one of the subclass options. Pretty obvious. You can choose a subclass only once, even if you multiclass into another class that is also compatible with this subclass. So you can't be wizard, sorcerer. Yeah, exactly. How the subclass manifests in your character story is entirely up to you, and roleplay stuff. At higher levels, just like regular subclasses, the subclasses you choose grant you new abilities when you level up. And when you reach certain levels, you might be eligible to choose from among multiple features in the subclass. And so, we're just going to go ahead and take a look. The Mages of Lorehold. This is once again, Bard, Warlock, and Wizards. Mages of Lorehold are particularly concerned with the forces that underlie and drive history. Drawing inspiration from the scholars and adventurers of old, they manifest the arcane powers of the past through ethereal dioramas, fantastical battle prowess. Lorehold mages are often found with a long-dead spirit summoned at their side. Who better to learn ancient history from than the one who experienced it firsthand? Using this subclass, upon selecting the Mage Lorehold, you gain two features, Lorehold Spell and an Ancient Companion. In this subclass features, any references to your class refers to the class from which you gain the subclass. If you're a bard, it's the College of Lorehold. If you're a warlock, the Mages of the College serves as your patron. If you're a wizard, the college represents your arcane tradition. When you subsequently reach your level in the class that gives you a subclass feature, you gain one feature of your choice from the options presented here. And so you can see that there's quite a few things. Let's already start off the bat, right off the bat with Lorehold spells. You learn Sacred Flame and Comprehend Languages automatically for taking Lorehold spells. You learn additional spells when you reach certain levels. So when you hit 3rd level, you get Knock and Locate Object. When you reach 5th level, you get Speak with Dead, Spirit Guardians. 7th level is Arcane Eye and Stone Shape. And 9th level is Destructive Wave and Legend Lore. Very stunning, dude. And the other one, which I'm pretty sure is going to be very popular amongst people, is the Ancient Companion. You learn to call upon the spirits of the ancient dead and house them temporarily in remnants of old statues, so that they may remain longer on this plane to bolster your studies and aid you in battle. Whenever you finish a short or long rest, you can call form and bond with one such spirit, who comes to inhabit a medium, freestanding statue within 10 feet of you to serve as your Ancient Companion. See this creature's game statistics in the Ancient Companion stat block. It uses your proficiency bonus in several places. When you bond with your Ancient Companion, choose the type of spirit you bond with: healer, sage, or warrior. Your choice of spirit determines the certain traits in the stat block. The statue determines the spirit's appearance, obviously. The Ancient Companion is friendly to you and your companions and obeys your command. In combat, the companion shares your initiative. but it takes its turn immediately after yours. It can move and use its reaction on its own, but the only action it can take on its turn is the dodge action unless you use a bonus action on your turn to command it to take another action. That action can be one in its stat block or some other action. If you're incapacitated, the companion can take any action of its choice, not just dodge. As an action, you can touch the ancient companion and expand a first level spell slot or higher. The companion regains a number of hit points equal to 10 times the spell slot. It perishes when it drops 0 hit points, and when you bond with a new ancient companion at the end of a short or long rest, or when you die. When the companion perishes, the spirit within returns to its place of origin, and the statue becomes an inert object. This is also good to know that every short or long rest you can change healer, sage, or warrior. But let's take a look at its stat block. 14 is its natural AC, but if you choose warrior, it gets an additional +2, so 16 becomes its AC. Hit point is 5 plus 5 times your level in the class. The companion has a number of hit dice d8s equal to your level in the class. Let's see. I'm trying to see. 5 plus 5 times your level in the class, and it has a number of hit dice equal to this. So, let's say you're level 1 warlock when you take this. That'd be 10 hit points, and it has a number of d8s equal to your level, so it's an additional d8. That's a pretty high like starting health, but it makes sense because it's a statue. Speed 30 feet. Stats right across the board. This thing does not do dex well. It is by far its weakest stat. But strength, con, intelligence, wisdom are either 14 or 15, with con being 15, and charisma is its only other lower stat, being an 11. It gets a +2 to con saves, plus your proficiency bonus. Intelligence +2 plus your proficiency bonus, and wisdom +2 plus your proficiency bonus. So it's proficient with con, intelligence, and wisdom. Its skills, it is proficient with history and perception, but it's actually expertise with perception. That's interesting to see a familiar of like a construct to have that. It's immune to poison. It's immune to being charmed and exhausted. It is expertise with perception, so its passive perception is pretty high. It speaks and understands the languages you speak. Its own proficiency bonus is equal to yours. And just passively, all of them will have Ancient Fortitude. If damage reduces the companion to 0 hit points, it can make a con save with a DC of 5 plus the damage taken, unless the damage is from a critical. On success, the companion drops to 1 hit point instead, so it just refuses to die. If it is a sage, it has a new passive. While within 15 feet of the companion, you and your allies gain a +2 to intelligence and wisdom checks. Actions. Spirit Strike. Melee weapon attack. It's your spell modifier to hit. It's a 5-foot reach, and it targets only one person you can see at a time. It does 1d8 +2 plus proficiency bonus is force damage. And if it is a healer, it has Healer's Light. The companion chooses a creature it can see within 15 feet of itself and flares its invigorating light. The creature gains 1d8 plus proficiency bonus temporary hit points. And lastly, if it is a warrior, it has a reaction called Warrior's Protection. When a creature within 5 feet of the companion makes a strength or dex save, the companion imposes itself between the creature and the danger. The creature can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to the saving throw. Alright. Right off the bat with the level 1 abilities, what are you guys thinking of this?
It's looking pretty fucking clean. Not gonna lie.
Sounding.
It's...
This shows how still new to D&D I am. It sounded like when you make a bard, wizard, sorcerer, anything like that with these kind of builds, it sounds like your character's a lot stronger than it normally is at level 1.
You have to remember though, it's when you unlock this subclass. So Warlock would get these things right at level 1, because Warlock picks their subclasses at level 1. Wizard gets their subclasses at level 2, so it's at level 2 when you get this, and Bard gets their subclasses at level 3, so at level 3 you unlock this. So the one who has instant access to the companion is the Warlock, but I'd imagine the Wizard would probably be the one who I think would take this the most out of all of them, because having an ancient companion setting it to warrior, and it's like, look, I have a bodyguard now with me, is pretty nice for a spellcaster as squishy as a wizard.
Yeah.
Me wizard, please don't step on me.
Does this replace your normal subclass?
Yes.
Or is it alongside it?
Well, it's another subclass option. So, bards, warlocks, and wizards. Here's a new option for your for a subclass. So, this would take the place of a this would take the place of a patron, because warlocks pick their patron level 1, wizards pick their ancient traditions, and bards pick their college. You are the college of Lorehold. Your patron is the ancient companion. Your arcane tradition, lore spells. You know, it's you have to flavor it to make sense for your class. But either way, it is an option as a subclass. It's not an addition to a subclass. But one thing that's good to know is that because it's an option for a subclass, it means that you could do... Let me see. It is also stated that plus your level in the class. Okay, so only the levels with the class that you're taking the subclass in matter. So you could do, like, wizard for this, and then you could do warlock with, like, one of the actual patrons from the warlock instead of doing this. But, yeah. Just like any subclass, you can't double dip into this.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Moving on, we have lessons from the past. Through your studies, you learn how to better listen and take to heart the teachings of history. When you bond with your ancient companion, you gain the following additional benefits depending on the spirit you choose. If you chose healer, your hit point maximum increases by an amount equal to your level in the class. And you gain the same number of hit points when you regain hit points from a spell. And you gain the same number of hit points. When you regain hit points from a spell, you regain an additional 1d8 hit points. If you chose healer. Sage. You have advantage on ability checks using Arcana, History, Nature, and Religion. Additionally, once per turn, when you deal damage to a creature with a spell of first level or higher, you can deal an additional d8 of force damage. And Warrior. If you used your action to cast a cantrip, you can make one weapon attack as part of that action as well. If the weapon attack hits, the target takes an additional 1d8 radiant damage. This right here is going to be so fucking powerful, because right off the bat, you know, for the most part, at some point, I thought this was just going to be only for wizards. But if you take Warrior, okay, listen to this. You take Warrior, you take this subclass as a wizard, and then you go to Warlock Hexblade. Warlock Hexblade will be able to Eldritch Blast and attack in the same turn.
Yeah, that extra attack is nice.
Yeah. That is, of course, if you did cast a cantrip. And the good thing about cantrips is that cantrips scale with your overall level. So it's a pretty Warrior, I think, is going to be the most popular form of the Ancient Companion. I'm not really seeing Sage. I think Sage would probably be the least used, just because it's nice to deal... While it's nice to deal with D8, Sage looks like it's more because it's giving you bonuses on checks. So you would use it for more roleplay than anything else. But let's take a look. War Echoes. By pulling from the magic of the past, you can cause your opponent's old wounds to resonate anew. Once per turn, when a creature you can see hits a target with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to force the target to make a wisdom save against your spell save DC. On failure, the target becomes vulnerable to one of the damage types dealt by the attack. This vulnerability lasts until the end of the target's next turn, and affects the damage dealt by the triggering attack. You can use your reaction in this way a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. That already is just really powerful, because making creatures vulnerable to attacks is so huge. Because it's like, oh, my barbarian just hit you with his great axe. Let me just use my reaction to now make you vulnerable to that very attack. And because it's a reaction, after being hit, you could save this for the nat 20 and give your ally the double damage on top of their critical damage. Yeah. Let's see. And the last ability is History's Whims. Through steeping yourself in the chaotic whims of history, you learn how to briefly channel the wild nature of time itself. As a bonus action, you can enter a state of chrono chaos. When you enter this state, and at the start of each of your subsequent turns while in this state, you gain one of the following benefits of your choice. Luck. You receive brief flashes of the future, stealing yourself against oncoming assaults. Whenever you make a saving throw against an effect that deals damage, you can roll a d6 and add the number rolled to the total. Resistance. You rewind time, knitting together injuries as they occur. You have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. And finally, swiftness. Time stutters, slowing others but hurling you forward. Your movement speed increases by 15 feet, and you do not provoke opportunity attacks. The benefits last until the start of your next turn. You cannot choose the same benefit 2 rounds in a row. The state lasts for 1 minute and ends early if you're incapacitated. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expand a spell slot of 4th level or higher to use it again. And that was the College of Lore. Oh, that was the Mage of Lorehold.
See, that one I like. The last bit there. History's Whims, I think, is what you said.
Yes, History's Whims.
Like everything else, it's nice. Your companion is good, but once you get to that, it's just wow. Look at that.
Mm-hmm. I really can't wait to see how I really can't wait to see how people will like utilize this. As much as I love high-end abilities, usually most people are gonna like it's a good idea to judge subclasses based off their like 10th slash below ability, or 10th and below abilities, because like, you know, it takes a while to get to level 14 in most campaigns. Tuesday group.
Yep.
You guys enjoying your level? Yeah. So, that's especially like the fact that the level 1 and level 6 abilities are probably it's weird. While yes, I understand the ancient companion is supposed to be like a thing because this companion is supposed to be like a creature that knows so much. It's weird that this class kind of like bases it off of that, but then it like in later levels it diverts from that because it's no longer about the companion. Now it's like we're actually learning about history and stuff.
Right, it's like having a tutor for the first part of your leveling up, and then, you know, after that point, you're just relying on your own skills and abilities.
That's a good way to look at it. I didn't even think about it like that. Alright, and let me go ahead and... Well, hold on. Actually, we'll do overall thoughts, especially because it's better to, like, judge them all as a piece together. But it's nice to get, like, our snippets here and there. Here's one that I was interested to hear. The Mage of Prismary. It's a druid, sorcerer, and wizard subclass. Mages of Prismary use surges of elemental energy to express who they are and how they see the world. To them, the magic and motion are one and the same. Both are exhibitions of raw creativity through which masterpieces are made. In their pursuit of the arts, some Prismary mages focus on perfecting the fine details of their technique, while others prefer to unleash their wild creative visions in dazzling spectacles of elemental power. Before I delve further into this, Black Clover, it's oh my god, baby, artsy wizard.
Oh, Rill?
Rill. This is Rill's, the Mage of Prismary, just from the sound of it alone.
Yeah, it's also a little bit luck too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So let's do this. Same thing. So upon selecting the Mage Prismary, you get the 2 creative skills in kinetic and artistry. In subclass feature any references to your class. For example, if you're a druid, the college counts as your circle. If you're a sorcerer, it's your origin. If you're a wizard, it's your arcane tradition. So, creative skills. You gain proficiency in 2 of the following skills of your choice: acrobatics, athletics, nature, or performance. Kinetic artistry. You can now dash as a bonus action, and when you take this bonus action, choose one of the following effects. So it's a bonus action dash with a twist. The Boreal.
This is the anime fucking.
Yeah. Here we go.
This is I move fast and leave a trail of destruction in my wake.
Right? Oh my god, this is so cool. Okay, the Boreal Sweep. Icy water swirls around you. Until the end of your next turn, you can move across the surface of water as if it were harmless, solid ground. Additionally, when you leave a space within 5 feet of a creature, you can force that creature to make a strength saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the creature is knocked prone. A creature can be affected by the water only once each turn. This is the Hades dash. The knockback dash. Okay, Scorching Whirl.
With different flavors.
Right?
Yeah, sorry, I'm using my chakra control to run over the water.
Exactly, right?
God, that guy said this is like totally the fucking anime move right here, dude.
Here we go. Scorching Whirl. Flames wreath your steps. Once before the end of your turn, you can force each creature within 5 feet of you to make a dex save against your spell save. On failure, the creature takes fire damage equal to 1d4 plus your spellcasting modifier. And lastly, Thunderlight Jaunt. You take on a nimble lightning form. Until the end of your turn, you can move through the space of other creatures and do not provoke opportunity attacks. If you end your turn inside a creature space, you are pushed to the nearest unoccupied space. So hold on, wait. That's
It's his freaking demon flare moves.
yes.
What it is.
This is disengage and dash at the same time as a bonus action.
God, that's disgusting.
Oh, here we go. You can use this bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Okay, I like it though. This is really fucking cool. Combine
it with a monk.
Just from those three alone, what would you guys probably use? The Boreal Sweep, the Scorching Whirl, or the Thunderlight Jaunt?
Probably
What's the fire one
Thunderlight.
again?
The fire one is the Scorching Whirl.
What does it mean by scorching whirl?
Well, all of these are extensions of you bonus action dashing, right? So when you bonus action dash, it's giving you the ability to like every step that you take has like flames that burst out with every step you take. The Boreal Sweep is like icy water is encircling around you as you're running through, and the Thunderlight Jaunt is you literally become lightning. You're becoming lightning until you finish this dash.
So you become you become the Flash. The second one become what is it? The Human Torch from the Marvel Fantastic Four.
Yeah, Human Torch.
You're basically Human Torch.
Or you can become Frozone.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm just imagining how disgusting
Yes.
that would be with fucking a monk.
Oh,
Of 4 elements.
right. This could be a good way to mix it in with him. Especially because the fact is, you could take this as a druid, so that way you can still keep the wisdom and take that wisdom and push it to the monk now.
Hell yeah.
I
God.
Go.
don't know. These all sound like really useful things, but with me being the pyromaniac that I am, I would choose the fire one.
Right.
Because
Me being the weeb that I am, I take the water one.
Water. All right, so let's take a look. Favored medium. At level 6, by the way, you have honed your forms on elemental expressions to best suit your ideas. Choose one of the following damage types: cold, fire, or lightning. You gain resistance to that damage type. And additionally, when you cast a spell using spell slots that deal the chosen damage type, you emit a spectacular aura of artistry, which extends 5 feet from you in every direction, but not through total cover, and lasts until the end of your next turn. While the aura is active, each creature of your choice has resistance to your chosen damage type while within the aura. As you shape your favorite elemental medium around them, you can change your choice of damage type anytime you finish a long rest. So it's just, oh, what's this? I'm about to do like this huge light. I'm about to use the spell Lightning Bolt. You can see the lightning aura circling me.
God. No.
I'd
This is
like
how
to
you
think,
get
though,
away with fireballing yourself. when you're in the middle of your peak.
Yeah.
Isn't
that's
there
But what I like is
a feat that's
Hold on,
like
wait.
this?
Let me hear Manai go first.
so because I was gonna bring it up as a when you play barbarian, you have I believe it's the elemental warrior.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, or the elemental zone. But you get to choose between fire, lightning, or ice. Was it?
Yeah, cold, fire, or lightning. Now,
Cold, fire,
I will say this. I did wanted to add in that. Remember that if you do barbarian, you can't do spells while you're raging.
Well, no, what I was getting at is when you do the elemental aura, you become resistant to fire or anything, and then you're able to put that on your allies as well, so they also get the resistance. But unlike this, where you can switch between the three, in barbarian you have it gets locked in. That's just like you're a fire elemental.
I think also this aura only lasts until the end of your turn, whereas the barbarian it lasts for a pure minute. And you can only use this favored medium once per long rest, whereas the barbarian is however many times you're raging. So I think the barbarian one, it's understandable why it locks you in, because it's like you're able to utilize it more often for a longer period of time.
Yeah, but now imagine if the barbarian was able to just switch between.
Right.
That would be broke. I feel like it wouldn't be so much broken. It'd just be.
I feel like it would be broken in the sense because when the barbarian takes a commitment to a specific path, like an elemental path, there's some pretty significant things. Granted, this is going to do that too, but the barbarian like is meant to be like this brute who can just be in there, take this fucking damage. And the people that we're looking at that do this are sorcerers, wizards, and druids. Two of D&D's physically weakest classes, plus the druid. And the druid is anything but weak because they're kind of a pseudo tank with their wild shape. So it's gonna be interesting to see how often that resistance realistically gets used when they're already trying to avoid being hit in the first place. Alright, let's take a look at Focused Expression. Honing your talents, you skillfully infuse your motions with even more potent expressions of elemental might. Once per turn, when you deal damage to at least one target, you gain an additional effect determined by the damage type chosen from your favored medium. If it was cold, one of the targets of your choice takes an additional 1d6 cold damage and must make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the target's speed is reduced by 10 feet until the end of its next turn, as ice mirrors it, and the target can be affected by ice only once per round. Fire. One of the targets of your choice takes an additional 1d6 fire damage. Fortify and Flame then dance around one creature of your choice within 30 feet of you. The chosen creature gains 1d6 temporary hit points. And Lightning. One of the targets of your choice takes an additional 1d6 lightning damage and must make a dex save against the spell save DC. On failure, the target is unable to take reactions until the end of its next turn as residual lightning shocks its form. So, one extra damage die, meaning that your fireball is now 9d6 at base. And you pick one of your allies or maybe even yourself, and now you have a 1d6 temp hit points. Pretty solid. But let's take a look because it's a small one, but let's see what this actually adds for us. Impeccable physicality. Level 14. Your relentless dedication and training have instilled an outstanding sense of precision and grace in your art. You gain proficiency in dexterity saving throws if you do not already have it. Additionally, when you make a dex saving throw, you can treat a d20 roll of a 9 or lower as a 10. What the This is the rogue's reliable talent built into a dexterity saving throw.
So
you can't
you can't roll lower than a 10.
You can't unless you roll a nat 1, I'd imagine.
I mean,
I-
it doesn't exactly say anything about the.
No, that's right, because nat ones don't really do that. So yeah, on dex saving throws, you can't roll below a 10 on a dex save when you hit level 14, and because you become proficient in it, by the time you're level 14, I think your proficiency bonus is +5. So at
So no matter what, you
at-
get an almost pass, right?
you get an almost pass, because that would mean that depending on what your dex is, the minimal you'll be getting is a 15 on your dex save.
Yeah, that's
It's like every dex
saying
save
if
after
you
comes
don't,
out.
if you just have like a +0 to your dex.
Yeah, exactly. What was that, Mix?
It's like every dex save from now on is just a 16 at least.
I know, right?
I can only imagine that with Croak.
Yeah.
Busted.
Quick thoughts on the Prismary. I guess Mage.
I think it's a little like I feel like it's strongest when in combination with but it's certainly got plenty of beef on its own.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we take, like, let's say we take a druid who wants to take this, and then we take a wizard who goes evocation, so that way they can be like the absolute best. And this will really instill in you that you are the elemental type of your choice. Because if you take the wizard evocation allows you to do max damage with like evocation spells such as fireball. So that extra 1d6 that you're taking as a 3rd level fireball would mean that that's 96s of damage. So 9 times 6 is 54. So if you're doing evocation, which is only 2 levels, and then focus like the rest into the druid, you're totally set for this. Yeah. Oh, this is gonna be nice.
Damn.
Yeah, this is gonna be nice. All right, the one I really. Oh man, this is the one I really want to see. How do we make Math Wizard cool? Okay. For those who became mages of Quandrix, math and magic go hand in hand. Such individuals learn to break down natural phenomena into their core numerical components, and through manipulating those, alter reality on a whim. Their talents range from tangible physics, like multiplying plant growth and redistributing elements, a probability and acceleration, to bizarrely theoretical exercises that warp the fundamentals of space and self. By the way, I now have example gifts for the Quandrix Mage. Stream VC text. Alright, here we go. Quandrix spells. Right off the bat, you learn Guidance and Guiding Bolt. Oh, wait, my bad. Hold on. This is available to sorcerers and wizards only. So only the weakest of the nerds can learn this. And spells at 3rd level, you learn Enlarge and Reduce, Spike Growth. 5th level is Aura Vitality and Haste. 7th level is Control Water and Freedom of Movement. And 9th level is Circle of Power and Pass Wall. Functions of Probability is the other 1st level ability. By iterating on the mathematical patterns of reality, you can nudge chance to tilt around a creature. When you cast a spell using a spell slot that targets at least one creature, you can choose that creature or another creature within 30 feet of it, and add one of the following effects. Diminishing function. The chosen creature must succeed a wisdom save against your spell save, or the creature must roll a d6 and subtract the number rolled from the next attack roll it makes before it starts the next turn. And supplemental function. Once before the start of your next turn, the chosen creature can roll a d6 and add the number rolled to the attack roll or saving throw of its choice. The creature can roll the d6 after rolling the d20, but decides before any of the effects of the roll occur. Pretty good. And let me also be sure you can choose that creature or another creature within 30 feet of it and add one of the following effects. So it's like, okay, I do a spell to this enemy, and then Mr. Ally over there, here's a d6 that you can add to your roll. Pseudo Bardic Inspiration. But it definitely is like you need to use spell slots to utilize this, so you only can do this as many times as you have spell slots. Velocity Shift. You learn to manipulate kinetic formulas and alter the velocity of another creature. When a creature you can see starts its turn or moves the space within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to force the creature to make a charisma save against your spell save DC, which it can choose to fail. On failure, the creature is teleported to an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you. You can use your reaction this way a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. This is Misty Step for an ally built into a reaction.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. And Null Equation at 10th level. Through careful calculations, you beset your enemies with abstract equations that reduce their might. Once per turn, immediately after dealing damage to a creature, you can force the creature to make a con save against your spell save. On failure, the creature has disadvantage on strength and dexterity saving throws, and its weapon attacks deal only half damage. The effect lasts until the start of your next turn. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You mathed at them so hard, they fucking perform worse. And lastly, Quantum Tunneling.
Divide them by 0.
Quantum Tunneling. Your mathematical expertise extends to altering the foundation, found's additional, huh?
What?
I'm trying to like pronounce this word. My mind is like, okay. Foundational equations of your very being. You gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage just passively now. Alternatively, you can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain, but you take a d10 of force damage for every 5 feet you move while inside another creature or object. If you end your turn inside a creature or object, you are shunted to the nearest unoccupied space you last occupied. So now just passively, you're resistant to all physical damage types, and you can now just move through people. You're like, sorry guys, I'm vibrating through the walls with my quantum tunneling. Zzz. All right. Thoughts on Math Wizard.
Well,
Bird,
not so hard, Bird, bro.
Yeah, Bird, you're breaking up there, and you have a lot of static.
Just a second.
Yeah. But come on, guys. Mex, Hive, Skeetles. Thoughts on?
I'm not a big fan of math, personally. You know, so.
So hearing Matt,
give this one a pass.
Am I still busted?
all right. Yes, you're good right now. What do you think? What do you think, Skittles? If you're there. I'm gonna take that as a no. And Bird, Mex, Maniacal. Thoughts on Math Wizard?
Math Wizard sounds funky.
Yeah. Math Wizard to me sounds not hard or complicated, just strategical.
Yes.
I think it's a bit. I feel like I'm gonna sound kind of dumb for saying this, but it seems sort of like someone wanted to play Artificer, but wanted to play Wizard more.
Well, then you can just combine the two. Remember, do this as your Wizard subclass and multiclass and Artificer.
I'm well aware, but this seems sort of like someone wanted to do all 20 levels of Wizard, but really liked Artificer.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, if you kind of look at the other ones, it's kind of like the same thing. Like, they got things that rogues have, but it's magic classes. It's just taking a little bit from different classes and kind of giving it to, magic users.
Right, which makes sense because this is very much it's weird to see something that is a subclass available to multiple classes at the same time.
Yeah, that's really funky.
What was that, Maniacal?
Like, story-wise, it makes sense, I guess. Because, I mean, Strixhaven is a big place with a lot of people, so it would make sense that, seeing as they're magic-focused things, people would bring in things and make it more magically inclined.
Yeah. What was that, Maniacal?
I lost my thought.
All right. Well, here, let's go ahead and see what the next Strixhaven area is. The Mage of Silverquill. This is only available to bards, warlocks, and wizards. Mages of Silverquill hone the power of words. They channel the magic of light and shadow through words, whether spoken aloud, written, or signed through gestures. The words of a Mage of Silverquill bring salvation to their allies and despair to their enemies. Same thing. You get the features when you get this class, and any subclasses. You know, if it's your college, it's your wizard, it's your warlock patron. We get it. Eloquent Apprentice. You learn one cantrip of your choice, either Sacred Flame or Vicious Mockery. It doesn't count against the number of cantrips you know, and it is added to your class spell list if it isn't there already. Additionally, you gain proficiency in your choice of 2 of the following skills: Deception, Intimidation, Performance, Persuasion, or Insight. Silvery Barb. Level 1 Mage of Silverquill feature. You can invoke words laced with magic to demoralize your foes or turn their misfortune into a boon to bolster your allies. Immediately after a creature you can see within 60 feet of you succeeds on an attack roll, ability check, or a saving throw, you can use your reaction to demoralize the creature. Unless the creature is immune to being charmed, it re-rolls the d20 and must use the lower roll. If the attack roll, ability check, or saving throw then fails, you can then choose a different creature you see within 60 feet of you. You can choose yourself. That creature is empowered, and you can re-roll 1 attack roll, ability check, or saving throw it makes within 1 minute and use the higher result. A creature can be empowered by only 1 use of this feature at a time. Once a creature fails an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw because of a re-roll forced by this feature, you can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest, unless you expand a spell slot to use it again. Interesting. It's just I'm forcing my opponent to do a disadvantage, and if the disadvantage makes them fail, then then either me or an ally gets advantage on one of these. I could see this one going horribly wrong in the instance of I've given the creature disadvantage. Oh, that's cool. It still hit you. Fuck. Or in the instance of it's always working as I intended it to, so I'm always having advantage. Haha, I succeed. I'm awesome. Let's see. I'm seeing a little bit of typing, so I was gonna wait. Oh, here we go. Witherbloom subclass can make potions. Wow. Alright. Inky Shroud. You learn the Darkness spell, and it is added to your class spell list if it isn't there already. If you are a wizard, you add it to your spellbook if it's not there already. You can cast the spell without expending a spell slot, and when you do so, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. When you cast the spell in this way, you can see normally through the darkness created, and when the creature you can see starts to turn the darkness, you can deal 2d10 psychic damage to that creature. You can also cast the spell normally without any additional effects by using spell slots you have 2nd level or higher. So it's just, you are inside a special darkness that does psychic damage to you. Ah! And Infusion of Eloquence. When you cast a spell that deals damage, you can invoke additional words of power to change the spell's damage type to your choice of Psychic or Radiant. Any creature damaged by the spell takes extra damage equal to your proficiency bonus and has its emotions swayed with despair or adoration based on the damage type dealt. If it's Psychic, the creature is frightened of you until the start of your next turn. If it's Radiant, the creature is charmed by you until the start of your next turn. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all uses on long rest. And lastly, Word of Power. You can invoke a Word of Power that is the pinnacle of your magical study. You gain the following options. Deadly Despair. When the target of your silvery barbs fails an attack roll, ability check, or a saving throw because of the reroll, you can invoke a Word of Despair to give the target vulnerability to 1 damage type of your choice until the start of your next turn. And Selfish Invocation. When a creature that you can see within 60 feet of you takes damage, you can invoke a Word of Power using your reaction to grant the creature resistance to that damage, and you take amount of psychic damage equal to the damage that creature takes. Alright. The Silverquill thoughts.
I like it. It sounds like It sounds like one I would like to play with because it sounds more geared towards controlling the battlefield than controlling your enemies.
It's very much that. I think it's crazy how like the only like damaging ability of it is the Inky Shroud, but you're not like you're kind of more using the Inky Shroud to like, yes, you're in this darkness, but you really want to get out of here, even if you can see in the darkness. So it's good.
Right.
But now let's take a look at the Mage of Witherbloom, who I can already see a few notes from that. This is only available to druids and warlocks. Mages of Witherbloom draw their magic from the energy that endlessly flows from life to death and back again. They see the duality of thriving life and inevitable death in all things, tapping and manipulating the transition of energy between these states. Some Witherbloom adherents focus on vital energies to nurture life and empower others, while others embrace the drain of vitality into decay and sap that and strike down their foes. Same thing. This is your this is your druid circle or your warlock patron, and you can't take this number of times. Each feature has a class level prereq. Okay. Witherbloom spells. You learn the cantrip Spare the Dying and the first level spell Cure Wounds and Inflict Wounds. You learn additional spells when you reach certain levels, such as Lesser Restoration and Ray of Enfeeblement at 3rd level, Revivify and Vampiric Touch at 5th level, Blight and Greater Restoration at 7th level, and Anti-Life Shell and Mass Cure Wounds at 9th level. Essence Tap. As a bonus action, you can draw on a Reservoir of Life to empower yourself for 1 minute or until you use this feature again. For the duration, you gain one of the following benefits of your choice. Overgrowth. When you choose this benefit, and as a bonus action on subsequent turns while this benefit lasts, you can expand and roll 1 hit die. You regain a number of hit points equal to the number rolled plus your spellcasting ability modifier. Interesting that it's an ability that allows you to use hit die. I'll touch more on that when we finish this one up. And Withering Strike. Withering Strike. When you deal damage, you can change the damage type to necrotic, and you ignore resistance to necrotic damage. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expanded uses when you finish a long rest. Witherbloom Brew. You gain proficiency in the Herbalism Kit if you don't already have it. When you finish a long rest, you can use an Herbalism Kit and a pot or cauldron to create magical brews. You create a number of brews equal to your proficiency bonus. Each brew requires its own flask. A brew retains its magical potency for 24 hours or until it is used. For each brew, choose the following effects: Fortifying, Quickening, and Toxifying. Fortifying. When you create a brew, choose a damage type: Cold, Fire, Necrotic, Poison, or Radiant. A creature can drink this brew or administer it to another creature as an action. Recipient gains the resistance of the chosen damage type for 1 hour. Quickening. A creature can drink this brew or administer it to another creature as an action. The recipient regains 2d6 hit points and 1 disease or condition from the following list affecting the recipient ends: either charmed, frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, or stunned. And also, it's the person who's drinking it that decides which of these. And Toxifying. As an action, a creature can apply this brew to a simple or martial weapon. The next time the weapon or a piece of ammunition fired by it hits a creature within the hour, the target takes 2d6 poison damage and must make a con save or be poisoned for a whole minute. Witherbloom Adept. Your connection to the flow of life force deepens once per turn whenever you deal necrotic damage or restore hit points using a spell. One target of the spell takes additional damage or regains additional hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. And finally, Withering Vortex. When you cast a spell using a spell slot that deals necrotic damage to any number of creatures that aren't undead or constructs, choose one of the creatures that took damage. You drain an amount of life energy equal to half the damage dealt to the chosen creature. One creature other than yourself that you can see within 30 feet of you regains the number of hit points to the life energy drained. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. And lastly, thoughts on the Witherbloom Mage.
I love
I
it.
dig it. I dig it a lot.
Dude.
How about you guys, Hive and Maniacal?
I do indubitably believe that it is pretty neat.
It is pretty neat. And Maniacal?
Pretty
Thought
good.
on Witherbloom?
I didn't understand it.
So, I think the Witherbloom is, I guess, the Strixhaven support / be careful who you call a support in Wizard School, because they have
Yeah.
access to necrotic damage.
That's the thing. They have the good touch and the bad touch.
Yeah.
They can do the freaking anything an Artificer Alchemist subclass can do without using a spell slot,
I think what's
and
interesting.
do it better.
Well, let's take a look. Actually, hold on. I'll pull that up. I was curious when you brought that up, because it explains you create a number of brews equal to your proficiency bonus, and it's whenever you finish a long rest. So what, at level 6, right? Let's see. Level 6, everyone's proficiency bonus is +3, so you can make 3 potions at that point. And if we take a look at the Alchemist, whenever you finish a long rest, roll in the elixir table. So the Alchemist can only create 1 of these at a time, but I think, is there a way that they can create more? No.
They also don't get to choose.
Right? Hold on. I'm wondering if that's an option that, let's see. When a creature drinks the experimental elixir, regardless of what it is, they regain 2d6 hit points. And, okay. So you never, as an alchemist, can choose which potion to give them. But the alchemist potions feel more, I don't want to use the word more potent, but after some point, they will always give you temporary hit points and an additional benefit. The Witherbloom is all about resistance to a damage type, regaining 2d6 hit points, or dealing 2d6 poison damage. This one is 2d4 plus intelligence modifier, which could be argued that 2d4 and 2d6 at minimal is 2, but with an intelligence modifier being added into it, it has a higher minimal than the other one. And potentially, what, 8, 12, potentially also, it has a higher minimal and a higher maximum if your intelligence modifier is high enough to help compensate for that.
Like this, because I've looked into making an alchemist before. I would absolutely choose this over going artificer.
I could see that. Especially because this one's more wise. I like the idea that the warlock who takes this is yes, look at all my charisma that I put into this brew. The druid, charisma, I use medicine. The artificer, you guys dumb? You're supposed to use intelligence to make these brews. But let's see, yeah. The alchemist can make 6 different types. Obviously, you can't choose it, is one of the biggest issues. Oh, hold on. Wait. Oh, never mind. When you hit 15th level with alchemist, you can make 3 of them. So it takes hitting level 15 in the alchemist compared to being level 6 with the Witherbloom to make this. But by the time you're level
15.
Yeah, by the time you're level 15, you can, the Witherbloom can make 5 potions, and 17th can make 6 potions. I'm trying to think here. Because the brew, you can only do that when you hit level 6. And the bonus you get here is level 15. So the other option here for the alchemist would be to... when you hit 6 level, it's 2. So, and you can't do 14 levels in this, but you can do 14 levels in this. So you could you can be a level 14 Mage of Witherbloom with a level 6 alchemist, and when you're level 14 and 6 all together, you can craft 6 brews from the Witherbloom. And you can craft 2 experimental elixirs. So you really are like this potions master who it's like, here's the 6 that I know what they do, and here's the 2 that I have no idea what the fuck they do.
Right, and plus they give you those like early level features too. That I'm a big support class player, so having things like Cure Wound, Inflict Wound, things like that is really fucking a big draw to me.
Yeah. What about the rest of you? Like any notes on the specific features we've gone over here?
No.
Oh,
I want to say I probably like this one the least.
really now?
Yeah.
Oh, here. What is it for you guys
It's
that
like
really drew you?
Oh, I wonder what Rico would think of this.
Right. Here. What about you? What about you guys? What are if Skittles was all about Witherbloom? What about you guys?
It's gonna be Witherbloom for me.
Mm,
I kind of like the elemental one because it just brings to mind like giant elemental storms just flowing through the field, killing enemies.
It is also.
Or
yes.
I actually do like the math one. I feel like it would be a lot easier to understand once you're actually like looking at it. But it sounds like it'd be pretty cool.
I can see the
Which
Prismary.
is weird because I hate math.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of people who do, but I can see the Prismary. We also have to remember that it's thematically it's art when they do this, right? What about Hive and
He
Maniacal?
is dancing.
Right, exactly. Hive and Maniacal, what about you guys?
the elemental one. I like a lot.
Me no.
Oh, no. Or it's like spells scary.
I'm whipping you something up, buddy. Just give me a minute.
Right.
You think more for our battle classes, they would like the elemental ones? Just
I think because it's like what? Actually, wait, no, hold on. It's pretty obvious. At least as far as what I'm understanding, you liked the Silver Quill most because it's Mr. Maniacal because it's like the control mage, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's
Interesting.
what I understand.
Interestingly enough, Silver Quill and Quandrix both seem like control mages, but Silver Quill is about what? No, they're both kind of the same. Silver Quill has a little bit of like territorial control and let's see, fear, charm base, imposing disadvantages, and if the disadvantage does correctly, you get advantage. Whereas the math one, it's a guarantee that you're going to be doing this rather than like, oh, it happens to just subtract the luck. It's a d6, either gained or lost. Velocity shift is like really like teleporting an ally. And the null equation could be like, oh, I've put math so far into your head, you're weaker. But that's not to say that Silver Quill is a like either of them is weaker or stronger than each other. Because the Inky Shroud is really good. It's a pretty nice damaging AoE that if the creature is stuck there for some reason, then they're probably just going to die outright. The Infusion of Eloquence is nice because you can choose Psychic or Radiant. And then like gain the additional benefits of doing so. And the Word of Power is... I don't know. I like the selfish invocation part. The ability to give resistance and taking however much damage they ended up taking along with yourself. It's one I would have to see played more with the Silver Quill. The one I think like how now after going through this all, what did you guys think of the way lore? Do you think Lorehold still holds up when in comparison to the other four?
I definitely think that's a really solid one in general. Like all throughout it, it seems like it's pretty solid. Because the other ones have like they're really good at this, but some stuff is kind of meh. That one just seemed pretty good across the board.
yeah, I'll agree with that. Unfortunately, like most of its big, flashy moves are later in the game.
Trying to think. Well, here. Let me then ask this question. Just going from the top of the order, starting with Lorehold. What type of builds would you guys imagine doing with Lorehold? Specifically, what class do you think you would be playing Lorehold with? Bard, Warlock, or Wizard? And then what would you do a build based off of that?
Definitely Warlock, because you can build up that, basically the battle mage. Big damage.
Yeah. What about you guys?
Oh boy.
If the three options presented were Bard, Warlock, and Wizard because of Lorehold, what would you want to use Lorehold with? Knowing that you can't take you can't take the other subclasses, and you might multi-class.
I want to say, I probably wouldn't take Wizard, because for Wizard, I like the schools that it already has. But for the other ones, I could see it. But I feel like I would take this more based on like the party as a whole. So like if I see the party's missing something, this one would be a good one because you have the spirit that could help maybe take up a part in the party's makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Wizard. I think I'd go with Wizard because then with the spirit, you're relying a little less on your teammates to save your ass.
Fair.
And I don't know. I find it kind of weird that the whole ideal of like lore and history and all that jazz is a college for bards rather than wizards who are all about like study.
Now, hold on. Let me ask you this quickly. Why is that? Because, here, I'll hear you out before I like give my 2 cents on that.
Well, me, I guess when I think of a bard, just like the word itself, it reminds me more of artists, musicians, like fucking Dandelion from Witcher type of bard, rather than, a college of lore.
Mm.
Like College of Glamour, College of Swords, College of, everything else makes a bit more sense, but I never really got why, the class that's magical abilities are based entirely around, like, years and years of study and practice and all that jazz, wouldn't have a history, lore-based kind of subclass, but
So-
the guy who, like, pelvic thrusts and shoots a disintegration ray at you.
Right. If I
As
may.
a-
So,
When I played Bard, my last Bard, and everybody forgot I was a Bard because I was College of Lore.
So here, the one interesting thing about bards that I heard someone use as a description. Okay, you have to. It was this Reddit story about a father who used D&D to kind of like tell his child bedtime stories, and his little girl asked, "Dad, what's a bard?" How do you explaining a bard to a child? You can't. It's you don't use the sexuality of it. You can explain it as a musical one. But that might kill off then why is he a part of the party then? Remember that bards, one of the biggest things is that the music isn't just songs that they make out of nowhere. It's retelling of history through songs and legends. Bards are some of the best ways that people memorize things is through music rather than just reading outright in a textbook. So when you have history told through you through song, especially something that's catchy through like something a bard made, this history lesson gets passed down and passed down and passed down and turns into a legend. Hence why College of Lore Bard is a bard that still is musically inclined, but uses their music to help tell the tales of history.
Even
The
if
way
it's
I
not.
always saw it,
Here, skills?
Nah.
Max?
the way I always saw it, wizards and bards, for lore wise, is that wizards study the lore for the axe, so they can learn the power.
Mm-hmm.
While like bards, there's bards who work in royal courts and are assassins, so they would learn the lore itself, so they can maneuver the court better.
That's interesting. So it's
Makes
yeah,
sense.
exactly. And so Mages of Lorehold, like it's one of those things that is when it came up, you know, Lorehold was one thing that Wizard came to mind, but I could not also imagine it without Bard. Now, the one I was wondering is the Warlock, but when it's put into the idea that it's an ancient spirit that's with you, I'm like, we haven't had like yes, we've had like old one as like an old god, but we haven't had just ancient spirit as a patron for the bard. So it's nice to see that. Sorry, not bard, the warlock. So it's nice to see that there's a patron for warlock that is revolving around. Let me tell you the history of my stuff, please, for the love of God.
Oh my God.
You've been telling me the history for the past fucking month. Can I not listen to it anymore? You've made a deal with me, and the deal was to listen to my tale every night.
Now imagine that, except they pull up the spirit of Grok.
Oh God, even worse.
Now listen here, shit.
No, was it anyone was it the Mage of Lorehold Warlock is anyone who bonds with Excalibur from Soul Eater?
Oh my God.
You must listen to
Now
me
that you-
retell the tales. So what's up?
Now that you say it like that, it reminds me. Your old ancient spirit could be Grandma Flexington from Borderlands 2. Because there's literally a mission where you sit there for 30 minutes listening to her story.
Exactly. So it's like the ancient companion. You brought her back to life to just tell her tales. All right. So that's a little bit of Lorehold. I like. Honestly, if I were to take Lorehold, I would probably do exactly what Bird had said. I like the idea of Wizard taking this and taking the Warrior with it. And then take this, Ancient Companion, take Warrior, and then start dipping levels into the Eldritch Knight Fighter. Because one thing that came to my mind is, you cast a cantrip, here's an attack action, right? I think Fighter already has this built in, but I wanted to be sure. Let's see. When you use your action to cast a cantrip, you can make one weapon attack as a bonus action. So you take level 7 of this, and you take. Let's see, where was it? And you need to get to level 6 with this wizard subclass. And now, when you do an action cantrip, as part of that same action, you can attack, and as a bonus action, you can attack. So this really is like fucking full-on battle wizard. And because of the fact that Eldritch Knight works already well with when people play wizards, you can do an Eldritch Knight Mage Lorehold Wizard, and your Ancient Companion is fighting side by side with you if you didn't want to use the bonus action to attack and instead wanted to use the bonus action to command them to attack. Knight, it's good versatility, and I think it would work really well in tandem. But now, let me ask you guys this. The Prismary. Druid, Sorcerer, or Wizard. What would be your preferred class to run this with?
Definitely Sorcerer. They have that flair.
Yeah. Also with sorcery points, you could also push it to the maximum to make your spells do as much damage as you could possibly want them to be.
Now this one I'm actually surprised Bard is not available.
Right? The artistic one. I think they were like, guys, we can't do more than 3, otherwise everyone's gonna take Prismary. Huh, is Sorcerer and Wizard able to take all of these? Let me see. No, Sorcerer's not able to take Lorehold. Sorcerer's not able to do that. Wow, Sorcerer only has access to Lorehold. No, hold on. Sorcerer has access to Lorehold and Prismary. And Wizard has access to every single one of these except Witherbloom.
Huh.
Which makes sense. Fucking Wizard gets access to all of the fucking... almost all of these spellcasting classes. This is just adding 4 subclasses to the Wizard list. But, what about you? What about the rest of you guys? Preferred classes you'd want to take with the Prismary? Maybe.
For me, it'd probably be Sorcerer again.
Why is that?
Well, the first one, because it like story-wise, it'd be funny if the Ancient Spirit's just your ancestor where you got your powers from. And again, like Wizard, I don't know. I really like, especially the new ones added, the Time and Gravity wizards.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like sorcerers would by default be what I would choose for these new subclasses. Just gives them like something extra, I guess.
Right. Okay. And was that Hive I was about to hear, or was that someone else? Well, I mean, anyone else ideas you guys would want to run with this? Me, myself, I'd probably want to throw Druid in this, see what I can throw in with some extra little bit of, like, elemental flair with it.
Oh boy.
What about you, Bird?
I'm not really sure.
All right, here. Let's go ahead and let's put the Prismarine moving onward because we have a few people who here's one. Like I said, few of you hear the Math Wizard and are just like, oh no. But I myself I'm really liking the Quandrix Wizard. I want to play. I think it just makes sense to play a wizard with it. Though a sorcerer who was born with an innate talent to access the formulas of the world also sounds funny. What about the rest of you?
I like the wizard, and weirdly enough, this I feel like would suit Xeno. Just like unraveling the secrets of the world itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And rest of you guys, if any of you guys want to chime in on the Quandrix Wizard.
Nah.
Alright. Moving on from Math
Yo,
Wizard.
nice folks.
Silverquill. Bard, Warlock, and Wizard.
Definitely Bard.
Yeah, this one makes sense for Bard. It also would make sense for Warlock too.
Alright, this is just a better College of Eloquence. I wouldn't say better, just
Different.
slightly different flavored, but more towards what people are usually trying to go for.
So then would you want to instead do a Warlock with Silverquill and then still bumping that charisma, then take College of Eloquence Bard so you can have the best of both worlds?
No, I don't like either of these things, like personally, just because I would not know how to play this character. I'm not a talker, but they sound nice.
What about the rest of you guys? Let me hear some Silverquill talk. Quandrix, I understand it's math, but Silverquill, it's a control wizard, or a control mage.
It's because this reminds me of the Dragon Shouts from Skyrim. So
Yeah.
it's words, writing, hand signed. So I could definitely see you using like a warlock, because they're already charismatic, so usually they'll end up being the ones talking.
God damn it! Something just came to my mind because you said that. Okay, so, even signed languages matter, right? And so you take the Inky Shroud, and the Inky Shroud does 2d10 psychic damage, and it's a darkness that you can innately cast. Now, put this Warlock / Bard or Wizard in a ninja outfit, and their hand signs are the fucking jutsus as they do the fucking psychic darkness.
It's interesting because now that you mention hand signs, you could definitely make a Witcher with it.
Oh, what, Liz?
Yeah, you can do like auto
you could have a Witcher.
That's
'Cause,
right.
you would have mostly fighter, and then this would be an easy way to do it, especially with the whole hand signs being really important.
Yeah.
No. You could do Mutagen Blood Hunter with this.
Mm-hmm. And on top of this,
Perfectly set up.
the Eloquent Apprentice, it could add into like your intimidation if you wanted to play the Witcher more intimidating, persuasion or even deception, or actually it'd be like insight plus one of the other charisma skills, and then with like silvery
I think
barbs.
yeah.
Silvery barbs is your which sign is it that muddles the mind?
That's Axie.
Yeah. So you could be like, was it? I'm using Axie on them to fuck up their ability, and if it works, then I'm now able to bounce that good luck onto myself.
Yeah. I kind of want to do that now. I'm not gonna lie.
There we go. Mage of Silverquill with the Blood Hunter. Blood Hunter scales with what type of spells? Is Blood Hunter wisdom or intelligence based? I know it's one of those.
I want to say it's intelligence. I could be wrong though. It's been a while since I looked at them.
Yeah, dexterity intelligence is one of its saving throws. It's blood maledict, blood curses. There we go. Try and see if, because how is the save DC determined for you, Bird, for your character? Is it it is intelligence based? No.
My.
Oh, here it is.
I don't
Yeah.
think he has
Yeah, it's
saved these yet.
no, not yet, but yes, it is staying right here. The abilities scale off of your intelligence.
Yeah, okay. Oh boy.
Lichen. Interesting. Okay. Mutant, mutagens. Yeah, it's by your intelligence. Okay, so yes, you would take the Mage of Silverquill Wizard just to have the intelligence to go hand in hand with your blood hunter, so that way it can work seamlessly that way instead of having to like I need charisma and intelligence plus my physical attack stat.
Yeah. So I mean, it's. To be fair, I am kind of already doing a little bit of that.
Right. Let's see.
Just a little bit. But
I'm sorry, but I do not speak your funny words, tiny magic man, for I am simple barbarian. You were working on that for a hot minute, weren't you, Maniacal?
Yes, I was.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, here. And finally we get to the Mage of Witherbloom. Thoughts? Druid or Warlock, if you were to pick your primary one for this. One is Charisma and one is Wisdom based. Figured as much. Druid is going to be a very popular pick for this. I'm curious why someone would want it. I'm curious the logic behind people taking Warlock with it. Not to say that it's wrong, but to say that I'm curious about how they would describe their patron. Rest of you guys?
So what were the classes that could have this again?
Only Druid and Warlock.
Just be a warlock. Professor Speed.
Repeat that? Max, repeat that?
I was saying, be a warlock and just have Professor Snape be your patron.
Oh my fucking god. Was your Warlock patron like always show up behind you with a book to smack the back of your head with?
anytime you cast Eldritch Blast, you have to say Avada Kedavra.
But let's see. All right. You know, for the most part, we really have done a thorough bit of this, and I don't want to end off this with we're only like a good hour and a half in. So instead, I'm going to quickly use this opportunity to kind of let you guys know what is currently almost done. After going through something today, I'm gonna spend maybe a little bit more work, but I guarantee you guys this is probably something either dropping this Sunday or next week. sometime next week. And it is the fact that... Hold on, let me go ahead and pull up where the fuck is that. This. Alright. Ta-da! The world of Neo Xeno. All of the countries are now officially here. The maps and stuff are, for each of these countries, with this one being the latest one, have all been done with the roads and such. And it's also because the main reason why I was rushing the world map, as well as everything, is for what's to come with the server, actually. Me and Skittles have been working pretty hard on this, and while some of you have been a little aware about this, few people, a good majority of people have been left in the dark. We are going to be opening up a RP section of the server. This RP section of the server is where you guys will be able to do a D&D RP when there's no D&D game around, especially in the homebrew world. And I know you guys are aching to get into this world as soon as possible while you guys are in your current games.
Sort of level up.
Right. And on top of just taking a look at all this RP stuff, we're talking about your character. Your characters are loosely based on D&D. There's no number crunching and dice rolls. It's a lot of like description with your words. You're able to travel around the world. And let's say you want to help and add into the fleshed out area of the world. That is why, for example, I'm going to use this point of this area. The starting origin is probably going to be around where this little village is. And from here, any other villages that are nearby or from lands far and wide, you guys can add into this through the entire channel that's going to be dedicated to world building approval, where you tell me the location you want to name, like a 2 to 3 sentence paragraph describing the brief lore about it, and it kind of is just for primarily so you can use it for your RP material, as well as any other towns moving forward through the RP. I am super happy because we're going to try our best to have weekly quests going up that would be located at quest boards around, and it's not just the world map. There's also a bit of more lore that's been added in. There are now going to be 5 guilds. The 5th one is still one I'm writing up, but we're gonna have the Glory Seekers Guild, and the Glory Seekers is pretty much our Adventurers Guild, replacement. This is created for those who wish to leave their mark on the world and truly go down in the history books. The guild's HQ is a sprawling tavern in the capital of Seratoria. More guild taverns can be found throughout the world, and many will come here seek adventurer information, as this is the best hub for news and ongoing things throughout Neo Xeno. And their main guild tavern is called the Golden Arms Tavern. You'll know this place from the sound of clashing weapons and mock battles taking place in the practice yard out front. Many come here to ask for and find quests, groups to adventure with, and even hire mercenaries for those tricky jobs. As rowdy as this tavern seems, there's a military-like discipline and standard held for all who reside or visit here. If you break the rules, you'll quickly and efficiently be taken care of. And that one, as I was saying before, is over in Seratoria, which is going to be this region right about here. Yeah, here we go. Seratoria. Up north in the... Let me go ahead and make sure I have this one right. In Ashari, which is this island over here, is the Menders of the Weave Guild. A guild created for spellcasters of all kind. These are the folks who work closely with the magic of the weave of Neo Xeno. Their guild headquarters is the capital of Ashari, but smaller guild halls can be found throughout the world. The main guild HQ is more like an arcane institution. Many come here to learn how to harness the weave and gain more knowledge and power. And so the main headquarters is known as the Arcana Collegium, a collection of buildings that house schools of magic, all located around a central library. You can generally tell each school of magic by the noise, smell, or fantastical sights that emanate from each building. While not the largest library in the world, this is definitely the oldest and best kept. The library is, at first glance, a disorganized and chaotic hoard of artifacts, scrolls, and books. You'll soon learn how fastidious the knowledge keepers can be if you try to move anything from its home and itself. The Mastermind Collective, which this one I already know right off the bat, is going to be located up over in... And if you're ever needing to know the name, Zielifer. Yes, Zielifer is the name of this one. The Mastermind Collective. This represents the collection of guilds of artisans, tinkerers, engineers, craftspersons, artificers, the creators and inventors of Neo Xeno. Even every major city has a multiple of these guilds, and they are the backbone of society. Without creators, there is no progress. Without progress, there is no civilization. The main headquarters for the Mastermind Collective is an ingenious steam brand bathhouse in the heart of Zielifer. Tinkerer's Rest is the name of this headquarters. A very large facility that utilizes the natural hot springs and steam vents of the area to provide a wonderful spa and bathhouse experience. Adjacent to another building that houses all the records of the various artisan guilds throughout Neo Xeno. This is where most of the actual brainstorming and inventing gets done. Often you'll find various guild masters who need to work out a tricky problem in one of the larger communal hot tubs, debating loudly on how things work with other guild artisans or guild persons. And the fourth one is the Unseen Guild. One of the hardest to be admitted to and least well known, this guild works more in the backgrounds and edges of society. Information is power, and gaining that information can mean many things. Lacking a central headquarters, they have a certain symbols and phrases that can identify other members of the guild. There doesn't appear to be a leadership hierarchy, more factions within the guild that work together towards a greater goal within Neo Xeno. This loose network of factions have shadow leaders that maintain control of the information and seem to have some great influence of the politics and powers that play in the world. And the fifth one, with still the working title, is going to be a type of like druid/nature guild that focuses on maintaining the balance of the actual like wild and making sure that civilization doesn't overdo nature and neither does nature outdo civilization. There should be a balance within everything. And even then, you all are probably wondering, you know, with the thumbnail that's gonna be looking for this, where does XenoLich come into play in all this? Well, using the rules from Von Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, XenoLich is going to be a Dark Lord within his own domain that he is both trapped in, but enjoying his imprisonment for while he is trapped there. His creatures that he creates are able to go willy-nilly in and out of his domain throughout the material world as Xeno plans to cause havoc to the world that he once called home. Now, finding his domain and getting to it is hard, but killing him in his own domain, even harder. What are your guys' thoughts on what we have so far?
I like the addition of like different guilds instead of just one big adventuring guild.
Yes.
I always enjoy some good guild work.
Sounds like you made a text-based MMO.
Right? On top of this, it's not just that. You guys can already see that there's green, red, and blue pins. While the different countries have their own cultures and religions and stuff like that, they have alliances with each other. The red countries are more your canonically human countries, such as your humans, gnomes, elves, dwarves, and halflings, and generally other races that would fit in with them. The blue countries are your more canonically evil races, goblinoids, orcs, lizard folk, Yuan-Ti, and so forth. And with our green countries being the kind of areas where it's going to be a little bit more diversified. These are your more mystical and strange creatures, with Ashari being home to our more aquatic races, Zielifer more home to our Fae and Avian-like races, and the final one, which I believe, let me go ahead and pull that one up. The name is going to be... Here we go. Soul Radio. Soul Radio is a more hot and savanna-like location that is going to house your more furry-like races and more animal stuff. So your Loxodons, your Tabaxi, Leonins, and even something like a turtle would also be found here. So many different things are going to be at play here. The main things that are missing is I'm right now wrapping up the naming for all the major cities. Every single major city is going to have a name, and every single major city is going to have a map made. Luckily enough, there is a map generator that me and Skittles have found that is going to help make extremely detailed but simplified maps that we don't have to spend like hours at a time making for each one. But just maybe like a few minutes to just tweak it to make sure it fits right, and then we move on to the next area. And then as far as, town generation goes, If you guys, whenever you guys want to submit a location, after getting my approval, it's something that I would work with the person to kind of like, hey, let me show you the generator that we use for the towns, and we use that generator to make the to make your town / village that you're deciding to choose and make. All of this to make a world that's not just my own homebrew world that I'm going to be running for you guys, but to truly make a community made homebrew world that we're all going to love and be a part of. And anyone who isn't, who joins in, who either leaves or joins in, will see the remnants of players past that have helped add and contribute to the world.
Oh boy.
On top of this, this is one of the jokes I was laughing with Skittles. The name of this country is going to be Rock, R-O-K. The capital of Rock is Rock, R-O-C. And the king and his bloodline are all Rock, R-O-C-K. One of my little personal
Please
favorites.
take that out of the final product.
No. I will not take it out. That way when the joke goes, I am Rock. Are you meaning the country, the capital, or the person?
The song.
Or the song. Oh, man.
It's not a boulder. It's a rock.
Yeah.
I kind of like that people can add in stuff, because then even if people aren't like playing, because I know there's people on the server who are really creative, but they just aren't in a group, or they already have D&D.
Yeah.
It could definitely give them an outlet to add stuff into the world.
Exactly. I am really excited for this because by far one of the biggest things is I love playing D&D with you guys. I really do. And it's just a shame that there are plenty of people who have wanted to play D&D before and wanted to join, but it's either they don't have a microphone that works or they're just too nervous to be on stream. This is a safe place for them to roleplay and join and be a part of the homebrew world and help contribute to it because, like you said, there are a lot of creatives out there, people who have some really fantastic role-playing abilities that haven't been able to showcase them because they just haven't had the option nor have the comfortability to be on stream and join us. But all that's going to change because this homebrew world is massive. I would like to add that one huge thing about this that is significantly different to the last homebrew world. I'll go ahead and go to like our starting point. If we're expected to start where this little village is, this village is about three days away from the major city nearest by, and to get to the major city south through the southwest road, that's like a 2 or 3 week journey. So this place is huge.
I'm sorry to jump out of the street so quickly, but I'm getting kind of tired. I'm gonna go to bed.
That is more than fine. I'm glad you're able to see it. This thing is, like I said, it's probably going to be released Sunday, if not next week. But I wanted to make it known so that way you guys can be prepared for what's to come. Be prepared to follow formats for when it comes to introducing your characters. And we're probably, while me and Skittles are going to be the ones who are going to run it, we're probably going to look for maybe 1 or 2 more people to want to help run the roleplay stuff. That we have confidence that they can do it, so we can have more moderators and people who can send me approvals as well as do approvals themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
See
I
you
can't
guys
wait
later.
to do the homebrew and then it happens.
Right. Exactly. But with all that
yeah,
said,
we're just walking around. It's like, oh, well, it's time to roll the dice.
right. With all that said, I appreciate every single one of you for joining onto the stream. I know it was a little short because we were able to just rush on through the subclasses, but thank you everyone so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's content, want to support what I do here, please follow and subscribe on Twitch. And if you're looking for more stream notifications, possible chances to participate, especially in the homebrew world, or even content polls, feel free to follow my Twitter and join the Undead Legion in Discord. And for any more VODs such as today's episode, please be sure to check out the XenoLich YouTube channel. Be safe and have a good night, everyone.